What's up, everybody? Today is April 1st. It's Sports and Layers episode 10. I'm dialing in from South Africa right now. That's Cape Town in the background that you see. I'm going to maybe change the camera angle in a little bit so I'm showing a little more clearly, but for now, soak up the background. We got a couple different topics to discuss today. We do want to talk about the current state of the NBA. We're going to talk about some sports betting that's been going on and impacting games. We want to talk about March Madness, and then kind of discuss some items around the scoring champ. So I think the scoring champ discussion easily flows into the state of the NBA. So Rick, you want to lead us off with that? I could give us some context there, but you want to discuss, because I know you were wanting to bring up like total scoring versus average points per game.
Yeah, so I find it weird when they talk about, scoring champ and how the media and fans, perceive it. It's much different from how in the NBA versus how the NFL does it. Where if you even look at now, there's a new collective bargaining agreement that the NBA and the players union just agreed to. And I think for you to qualify for like awards, you have to play at least 65 games.
Yep.
So, and what I'm trying to draw in is that a lot of times when you look at, let's say, a scoring record or points per game, scoring champ, some players who play a lot more games get the less of the stick, because if a player is hurt and say he plays 55 games during the season where another guy can play, let's say, 70 games, and that's more chances for his average to drop down, and he may score more points. I feel like the scoring championship should be rewarded to a player who played more games. So if I score in totality more points than you, I should be the scoring champion. It's not about points per game, because if you play less games, your averages will look more higher, because that's less chances for you to have an off night, foul trouble, etc. So I just look at it as like, I don't think points per game should be the measuring stick, because when we look at football, you have the passing leader or rushing leader. You look at how many yards you accumulated throughout the whole season. They don't look and say, oh yeah, he played 10 games and he averaged 100 yards, 115 yards a game, but then we're gonna knock the other guy who averaged, maybe, 95 or 90, but he played all 17 games. The guy who has the most yards should be the champ. And that's how it's in the NFL. That's the same thing should be in the NBA.
It's interesting because it's not like they hold anything, like they still acknowledge the people that average the most yards. Like they'll be like, this guy leads the league in rushing yards per game, or, yards after contact per game, but they don't crown them the rushing leader. So that's an interesting point. I guess to play devil's advocate, I think there's just so many games in basketball that maybe to a degree, I mean, they're not fully healing it with the new CBA agreement to play 65 games, but it could prevent that dude who's only played 58 or 60 games, who is averaging 32 points per game. He's not going to get the nod over the guy that played 70 games and averaged 29 points per game. So maybe that'll help it out. They're really trying to stop load management with that, but I don't know. You make a really good point. Like under the system you described, Tatum would be the scoring leader. And I do think Tatum or the Celtics deserve some kind of recognition for this season. Like, it's been a good year. They were dipping down and they bounced back, which we're going to cover. Now it's looking like they could even take the 1 seed, and they just stomped on the Bucks. I don't know what happened that game. I didn't get to watch it. Maybe y'all could fill me in, but I like that. I like the idea of kind of going with most points. Even though I said I'm going to play devil's advocate, I do think this year though, with Embiid having a dominant year, MVP, I think because the only caveat I would say to what you're saying is, because there's so many games, make it like have it be a cutoff for the scoring lead. Maybe that's like 70 or 75 or something like that.
Yeah.
They go points per game, but then they do a minimum number of games you got to play.
Yeah, but it's like 50 something games.
Just because like points per game is just a more sexy stat to sell to fans as like, hey, this is like the scoring lead as opposed to total points. Like, hey, this guy scored 2,000
easier
points.
to digest, yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to be like, yo, this guy's averaging 40. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of why it's like a media thing. You know what I mean? For fans and shit like that. Because like,
for sure.
Excuse me. Another thing is kind of getting a little bit away from what we're going, but what do you guys think about like the media being able to vote for like all NBA? I feel like this thing is mad weird now because like the Celtics are like obviously trying to get Jaylen Brown to get third team all NBA. It's mad obvious, right? So we can give him that extension so he don't leave in free agency. He's a free agent at the end of this year, I believe, right? So, you know, I feel like that's weird that it's up to the media to vote for that. Like, I feel like it should be more open to like, I don't know, have like a committee, maybe former players, you know, definitely have some media, you know, maybe even have coaches even have a vote. Like it should be a collective thing. It just seems weird that it's just up to the media.
Yeah. I see this is the issue that I have with it being in media. And I always point to it. Avery Bradley didn't make an all NBA team when he had a great season because Chris Broussard, Dell's boy, thought he played the game when Devin Booker had 70 and Avery Bradley was in the fucking hospital. So
he was in what?
He was in the hospital.
Oh, damn.
He didn't even play that game. So you could sit there like someone asked him and said, why didn't you vote for Avery Bradley? Oh, because Devin Booker dropped 70. And it was just like, he didn't even play. So these guys aren't even paying attention to things.
Right.
And then also, Jason Tatum had a chance to have that Rose extension where, like, you know, like if you make, because he would have had a chance to be on two all-tall NBA during his, like, I guess his rookie years. And he missed out on it because some people had him listed as a guard and forward.
That thing's so dumb.
Some people voted him for, and so basically the votes got weird, and he was just left off the team. Period. So that's the issue that I had.
Rick, real quick, to that point. So based on that whole guard, forward, whatever, you know, are they basically saying that both Embiid and Jokic can't both be first team All NBA because
that's how it was last year?
Yeah,
that's how it was last year. That's how it was last year.
Like Embiid got screwed over last year, and Tatum kind of snuck into the All NBA team because
that's that bullshit,
Joker
right?
Was the only center. Was it Joker? Right, he was the only center on the first All NBA team.
Yeah.
He dropped
They're
down.
Making
to
it too cute, like
Tatum took the forward slot with Giannis.
So
you see,
so it should be, to be honest, I feel though is that like it should. Basically how they did, like they took away the All-Star. When we had a drought, when you looked at the center position, it still kind of is, but before there was a point in time where like you being a de facto center, you're gonna get votes because there's no other good centers, and now you're pushing like the good power forwards and the small forwards onto the bench because of All-Star voting, because you had center, you had positions: center, small forward, power forward, shooting guard, and point guard. They changed that to this backcourt and front court for the All-Star. I feel though is that there should be some kind of idea with the same thing with the NBA All NBA voting. Like Jokic and Embiid should be able to be first team. It shouldn't be a designated position. I feel like it should be front court and back court.
Right.
The same thing.
Right.
And the same thing, I kind of see where you're going, TG, as far as in what you're saying, like a committee, because
with older players,
when you're talking about
players, you know, maybe some coaches, you know, some media too, you know.
Yeah. I mean, so when you're talking, okay, when you spoke Jaylen Brown's a free agent after next season,
I thought he's a free agent this season, right?
Nah, next season.
Next season?
So yeah, so they can offer. So the cool thing, what I just learned about the new collective bargaining agreement is that the Celtics can, if he doesn't make All NBA, the Celtics can still offer him an extension that will be more than any team can offer him next offseason, which will be 4 years, 189 million. The most somebody can offer him after next season's 4 years, 184. But the kicker is if he was to make an All NBA team, the Celtics can offer him a super max, would be 5 years. I said 500, 5 years and 290 million.
Ah,
So
that's $100 million difference.
exactly. The media holds that, bro. Bro, the media holds that. Like, we serious now?
But then why wouldn't the Celtics want him to not make the All NBA team so that they're paying less for him? Or, but
I mean,
are they the only team that can give him the supermax? The Celtics?
yes.
Okay, so that's why. So it's like, all right, we know we're gonna lock him in because now we could give him
And
$5
if he
million
doesn't,
gap versus like $106 million gap. That's crazy.
So now that's why I'm pushing for him to make it even more so, because then you can know what's up. Because with the recent news, as far as him saying this or that, and the Celtics come to him and say, "Yo, here's 500. Here's 290 over 5 years," and he says, "Nah." Then it's gonna be like, all right, let's talk about moving them, because why would you you're gonna take way less next year to go somewhere else.
At 250, that shit jumped to 290. That's crazy, bro.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
ridiculous.
300 million, bro. That's crazy.
Yo, and Tatum can get 300 million, I think, something like that. Yeah, if Tatum makes it. Yeah.
But Tatum's about to be first team, so he's already good money.
So Jalen should be third team All NBA.
I mean, I would argue and say he could be second, but there's a idea whether guard and forward with him, because it's guard forward, because if you look at when they had because remember Robert Williams didn't play a lot, so they had him playing small forward a lot because Derek White and Marcus Smart will be in the backcourt. So there's going to be an issue as far as is he listed as a guard or is he listed as a forward, and that could affect as far as I think he should be second team.
Behind, so who are your top four guards then? Just to go into that quickly, since you got him second. Does Steph Curry have to be in there?
No. See, this is the issue, and this is what I'm afraid of. What I'm afraid of is guys like Steph Curry, LeBron. Like, they shouldn't be on. I'm sorry, they shouldn't be on the All NBA team. They didn't play enough games. There's not enough. There's way more deserving. Players.
Take a shot at him, damn.
I'm not taking a shot at LeBron.
I don't think he should be on there either, though. But he would be.
I'm just throwing him in the category as far as like Steph Curry, the likes of that. Like, you shouldn't come on, spare Kevin Durant.
Would he be in? So he would be in there as a forward, you're saying, right? Because it's two guards, two forwards, one center. Like, what position is it? I was assuming guards.
Yeah. So I think it's two guards, two forwards, and then a center.
So who's your top four forwards then?
Okay, so we're gonna do Giannis. We're gonna do Tatum.
That's the first team.
Okay, and then I'm
looking through the team. Julius Randle, he's probably not.
I would Julius. It's KD second team. KD played how many games this season?
He missed too many games.
How many games?
If he didn't miss that last stretch most recently, like with the freak ankle sprain.
Right.
But he missed that late in the season too.
So that's what I'm saying though. It's like JB right there. You could put JB in.
I don't know if he played enough.
JB. That's what I'm saying. Like, you put JB there. Like, I mean, Julius Randle is teetering on that second, third team as far as if you want as a forward.
Damn, I feel like this should be easy.
bro, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be some like, because I mean,
can't say Kawhi. We can't say Kawhi.
I mean, like I said, like hey, how good has Jimmy Butler been this year?
I mean, they don't
like,
have a top forward on the Sixers, Cleveland, Knicks, Brooklyn, just going through the top teams. Discounting the playing teams like Denver, do they have a great forward? I don't think
no,
Memphis, Sacramento, unless Harrison Barnes is up there.
Nah, I mean in Sacramento, I think that what's the name is Sabonis is a center, so he's a center. So if there's anything, like he would most likely maybe be like a third team. He may be teetering that third team, center spot. But
so and I'll say this to add to that point. I do want to go back in the points total because like it ties in with March Madness.
Yeah.
I want to discuss that player that missed the all-time scoring record for NCAA. But what I did want to share is like to Rick's point. My thing is I don't think the media should have. I agree with you. I don't think the media should have so much influence. If it is going to be media, it needs to be guys that are media that are covering a specific team. Like it needs to be collectively these beat writers voted for XYZ persons, like somebody that's in it. Cause like, okay, Stephen A, Chris Broussard, yeah, y'all watch the league all the time, but are y'all really watching every single game? Hell no. They don't have time for that with their schedule. So
no.
It's like, if you're getting a media guy, you need a media specialist for a specific team or someone that like, I don't know how they would do it, but you need someone like that's covering a multitude of games of not just one team. So it's hard to get perfect, but it can't just be the big name guys. I think it needs to be someone closer to the weeds.
Yeah, and then the problem is, and that's why you have the issue of having Durant, LeBron, Steph Curry. You'd be like, wait, how did these dudes make it? And then now you're talking about millions of dollars. Where like some of these
Clay got screwed over. Yeah, Clay got screwed with that too one year in his contract.
These dudes are stamped. There's not these. I mean, you're adding to their resume where like some of these dudes you're talking about, you can change livelihoods. Like, granted, they still get millions, but Del, you just when you seen, you're like, wait, 100 million. It was like, yo, that's a big deal. Like, that's another like NBA contract added to your. Right. That's another NBA.
He's trying to get 50 mil in like 4 years, alone an extra 100 mil. Like, you kidding me?
Like, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. So, that's what I look at I definitely feel though is that like there should be, even within there, if there is a committee or something, there should be in that committee, it should be like, okay, these people are dedicated to watch, even if you're breaking it up into regions, okay.
You could hire someone at this point. Yeah. Literally hire a specialist who has to watch like every game in a certain division. Like there's 5 in the division. All right, this guy literally has to watch every single game that all 5 teams play. And you got to give an analysis. And ideally they have they could be complete media, but ideally they got some basketball background. But it's too much money on the line, to your point, to be letting it up, leaving it up to chance or somebody missing something.
Yeah, and like you said, though, we're not watching it. No one's watching every single game.
Every 82 games, nah.
Nobody's not.
They need more eyes on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like more people need to be in that room that's making these decisions. Like it can't just be like, media, or I'm not saying like media shouldn't be involved, but there should be more people involved just so we get it right every time. And honestly, they should also think about like the whole position thing, because truthfully, the 2 best bigs in the game are centers. They should both be first team. They get
the 5 best players.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mark makes it some year only won 4, makes it this year.
And it's easy. And it's easy.
One of the 5 best.
If there was like, let's say there was 3 ill bigs or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, only 2 of them can make it. We're cool with that. We're not gonna
Why
put
not
a
just
center
make
at
it
small
literally
forward.
the top 5 people in the MVP vote?
Yes.
Or
That's
have
what
that
makes.
mirror the all NBA. Like that should be more closer
Yeah.
to all NBA teams.
It should be the 15 best players that season, period. It
Right.
shouldn't be a situation where like you have a point guard who's maybe the 25th best player, but since he's a point guard, he gets shot up to the third team because he plays point guard or guard, period. It should be the 15 best players regardless of position.
Agreed.
What if the first 5 players, like let's say like the top 5 players in scoring in the NBA are all centers? You're not gonna put all centers on the first team.
Yeah, and
It's rare, but like back in the day, like you know what I mean? What
I mean,
90s and all
you're a
that
top
shit when like the
scorer.
bigs were the ill, you had
Right.
Olajuwon and Duncan and Shaq and literally you could probably have like the top 5 people in scoring in the league all centers.
Right. And
I mean,
just because you're a top scorer doesn't mean you're a best
I'm
player,
putting reason into it. Like I'm saying, like, to a point.
I think I don't think the likelihood of that happened. That's not going to happen. The likelihood of all centers.
Right, but it's just making a point that like, we're not saying like just throw all the bigs in there. We're just saying, it's clearly mad easy. The 2 best bigs in the league can just take the big spot in the first team. It's mad easy.
That's why I say MVP, the top 5 in the MVP voting versus scoring, because it's not always that the best scorers are the best players in the league, because MVP and all NBA takes in the defense, but there is also the all defensive team. So it's like, it does get a little messy, but I mean.
Bro, it gets very messy because remember the year, who won it? Marc Gasol won Defensive Player of the Year, and then he was like second all defensive team.
What?
Like it was, yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's cooked. Like what?
Yeah.
The best defender in the league,
but
he's the 6th best defender, basically.
Like, so you got.
Yeah, I want to say that. Yeah, I want to say that that's right. Bro, look that up. Marc Gasol was second. He was on the second team.
Who was the first team
defense? Bro, that year, I think that some people were arguing that LeBron should have won Defensive Player of the Year, and I think that was one of his like Miami years, and that's what they were like. That's how cooked they were. They were just like, how did this dude win Defensive Player of the Year and he's second on the second team? Like that makes no sense. That's what I'm saying. This voted is weird, and then you tie in contracts to it. They gotta fix it.
Let me look it up. So I saw, he won it in 2013. Marc Gasol, it seems like, they were mad that people were upset LeBron didn't get it. But let me see who was the first one. Who was the first? Oh, the first team, it was LeBron, Serge Ibaka. Wait. Yeah, so sorry, my loading thing is a little weird. But the first team was LeBron, Serge Ibaka, Tyson Chandler at the center. And then I'm seeing Tony Allen, Chris Paul. I feel like I'm seeing 6 people. Joking. So it's not even, it's 6 people. It ain't even 5. Is that correct?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
this can't be right, but I'm seeing 2012, 2013 NBA all defensive first team, first vote, second votes, total points. So the top 6 in votes, maybe there's 5 and 1 on the bench. 1, 2, 3, 4. That wouldn't make sense. But either way, if I just read the 5 names, it's LeBron, Serge Ibaka, Tyson Chandler, Joakim Noah, and Tony Allen. So he's not on there. He was on the second NBA all defensive team. That doesn't make any sense. And the second team that year, it was Tim Duncan, Paul George, Marc Gasol, Avery Bradley, and Mike Conley.
That's some lockdown, man. Shit.
Man, that's wild. Though.
Not
That's
scoring
the
them
flaw
niggas.
in the system. Like that's cooked.
Yo,
Nah,
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
definite flaw. Definitely.
And crazy because yo,
It's an easy
it's just
fix.
cooked.
Right.
Yo,
Easy fix. Like we just
yo,
doing too
it's
much with the voting. You know what I mean? Like the
Us. We'll
media is
be
just getting too
consultants.
cooked with the voting.
Hire sports and layers for consultants. We'll figure it out. And so the scoring, I think just qualify for a scoring title, you have to do 58 games. And so to quickly go over the point we were making, like if I'm a Joel Embiid and I average 31 points per game, I win the scoring title. As long as I play 58 games, even if Jason Tatum averages 1 point less, 30 points, but he played in all of the 2 games, which is fried, because that means Tatum is outscoring by hundreds of points that year in total. But for the total points, what y'all think? I believe his name was Antoine Davis, the college basketball player that missed the chance. Not the chance, but his team didn't make like an additional tournament.
They suck.
Right, so that he could break the scoring record. He was 4 points away. Whose record was it? Is it Pistol Pete? Pete, man.
Yeah.
And like, but my thing is, I'm actually tight at him for making a big deal. First of all, they suck. Well, let me not say they suck. They didn't play well enough to make that tournament, which your team actually has to pay for. But then he played like a lot more games than Pete. Pete did it in 3 years. He did it
3.
Wow.
So it was like 84 games to 144. Like, bro, you have plenty of opportunity to break that record. You played so many more games, and then he's gonna say he's the best scorer of this generation. I like that mentality, but bro, you have plenty of opportunity.
He played in 5 seasons because of the COVID. Yeah, so you played 5 seasons because of COVID. Pete did it in 3 years. Like, and that tells you. And I want to say Pete didn't have the 3-point line. So that's how crazy Pete was.
Yeah, Pete Maravich.
So I just think that's how crazy it was. He did it in 3 years, no 3-point line. And this dude couldn't break it in 5 with the 3-point line and probably very heavily influenced threes. The issue that I have, and I understand it, like I said, you can have, you can have his gripes or whatever, but it's just like, it begs the question: were you out? What was these empty points that you were doing? Or was you just the offense? Because I mean, his team had they was like 14 and 18 or something, and
14, 19, something like that.
Yeah. So no one, and he said like people were hating, or I don't know how someone hated when your team sucked. Like it kind of like your team wasn't good enough. Like you should have, I don't know, you wasn't on a good enough team. That's just basically it. Like there's nothing as far as what what they should just I don't know. I feel like it's a bad look if you just reward and put his team in a postseason tournament just so he can break a record.
But that's why literally people were writing in to essentially protest them being in that tournament. So that's what I think ticked him off more. He's like, why are people writing in to prevent me to get this? And like,
okay, no, that's weird.
To the integrity of it. I mean, it holds the NCAA to a certain integrity, but I would be tight about that too, I guess, if I'm him. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, see, that's weird. Like, I mean, you don't got to do all that as far as the right in. I'm pretty sure that the people weren't going to let him in. But to that point, I understand the integrity as far as, the game. Because, like I said, you kind of dilute, like, what are we going to continue? You're going to continue to do this? Once you let something else happen, what are you going to do next? And it's like, you're going to let the terrible team, a team could be 1 in whatever, and you're going to let them in because, there's going to be a record. Like,
they were 1 in 19 each year. But this guy balled out and dropped 40. Not a true like LeBron.
Nah, so I don't. Yeah, I totally like I said. Shout out to Pete Maravich. I mean, shout out to this kid too. But it just like that record. But I mean, that begs the question also too. Though, is that like basketball always, like, when you look at the greats, a lot of people try to, sugarcoat or put them down or whatever the case is when you look at the great players, and it was just like that's just like that is astonishing. Like as far as in him to put up those type of numbers with no 3-point line, and now you see the like people were saying, oh, defense isn't worse. It's just that the offensive players are more skilled in this era. It was just like, I mean, let's not act like they weren't skilled back then too. I just think that a lot of times now, a lot more rules, as we can see in a lot of sports, are more so heavily offensive, offensive based, like TG was saying, as
Right.
far as like when you want to look at it, like say, I'd rather look at points per game for fans. So yes, so when you look at all sports, across the board, they take away from the defense as far as on what you can and can't do on defense, and they give the offensive players way more freedom.
And how can I throw a curveball in here with a
Yeah.
top? You brought this up though, Rick, but I want to get y'all thoughts on this.
Yeah.
It's the new NBA CBA agreement. I want to throw out the topics and then y'all let me know y'all reaction. So like there's some new key elements. One, I'll start with the I feel like the easier ones to digest. One is like to curb load management. They're saying eligibility for postseason awards such as All NBA and MVP. You have to play a mandatory minimum of 65 games. It does come with some conditions, but they're also talking about. I'll do two at a time. They're also talking about an in-season tournament that could literally come into play next year. It would include pool play games baked into the regular season schedule starting in November, with 8 teams advancing to a single elimination tournament in December. The Final Four would be held at a neutral site, with Las Vegas prominent in the discussion, sources said. Those games would count towards regular season standings. The two finalists would play in an 83rd game that would not count in the regular season. Winning players and coaches would earn additional prize money. What do y'all think of that? What? I don't like that's just I feel like that's just adding a chance of injury. What's the point of that? You're not a champion. What are you gonna say? We won the attorney? Like
I think there's some European soccer model that's trying to be introduced into America. I mean, I don't follow soccer, but there's something where, like, I don't know if they have champion leagues in the midst of their seasons and stuff like that, but I feel like a team's gonna end up playing 83 games.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. And I don't even know how to even like judge it. Like, what is the reason? Okay, you win, then what?
Right.
You win.
And now if the winning team gets like home court advantage no matter what in the finals or playoffs or something, sure. But reading this, it sounds like just additional prize money.
And the thing was like 500,000.
You might know.
I think it's like 500.
That's not.
It was like, I mean, okay, you get extra money, but like at the end of the day, who cares?
Damn.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And so, Rick, that 4-year, 189 million would actually be, that's actually under the new CBA. So they agreed to increase the upper limits on extension from 120% increase to 140%. So before this deal, he would have been allowed to sign a 4-year, 165 million. But because of the new deal, we now do 4 years, 189.
Who's this?
Jaylen Brown. So there's an increase. They increased the upper limits on an extension. Something else they did This is interesting. They're curbing the ability of the highest spending teams, such as Golden State Warriors and LA Clippers, to continue running up salary and luxury tax spending while still maintaining mechanisms to add talent to the roster. They're implementing a second salary cap apron, basically 18 million over the tax line, and those teams will no longer have access to the taxpayer mid-level and free agents. So those changes will be eased in, but like under these changes, like Golden State wouldn't have Dante DiVincenzo, Milwaukee wouldn't have Joe Ingles. This isn't as relevant, but I mean, Boston wouldn't have Gallinari.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't have them on ball.
Okay, I have an issue with that, right? So, all right, I'm guessing it's trying to, let's say, level the playing field, I guess. But the issue that I have is, isn't that going to like push out the veteran player? So who's gonna go sign Gallinari? Because is he gonna go want to sign with an OKC, or is OKC gonna even want him?
Right.
Like, would they rather have that spot for a veteran? He got traded from the Hawks to the Spurs. The Spurs wanted to tank, and they were like, we have no use for him. So I feel like a lot of times, like with that, like mid-level, a contending team, signs a guy who wants to win, and I'm thinking, you're just like kind of taking that opportunity away. I don't know. I just like it just like I don't know. I feel like it's just like they're trying to level the playing field too much, but it's just like, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't help some of these teams like the Rockets who just want to suck.
Right.
It's not.
They don't care about overspending and trying to win and going all out.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna sit here and put in-season, tournaments and things like that, and copy the European model, then owners, you have a salary cap, you have a luxury tax. If they go over it and they're fine with paying the fines, then so be it. I think that's what I think. This is a shot at the Warriors, because the Warriors said, you know what, F it, we'll pay it. Who cares? We're gonna pay it. We don't care. We don't care about the money. We want a championship. We want to win championships. We'll deal about that later.
And TG, do you know about the soccer in-season tournaments?
No, not really.
Okay. So there's one more on here, then we could get into the current state of the NBA. This one's actually interesting. They increased two-way contract slots. I'm guessing, and Rick, let me know if you're more familiar. I think that's B-League and NBA team, but they said there's now an increase in two-way contract slots, jumping from 2 to 3 per team. And it says like some of the biggest success stories to come up the two-way pipeline are Austin Reeves, Alex Caruso, Duncan Robinson, and Max Strus with the Heat, Jose Alvarado with the Pelicans.
Two-way contract.
Yeah, what is it?
What is it?
Two-way contract is basically it's an extra roster spot. So basically, that player can jump up from the G League and the NBA, but they only can play like a certain amount of games in the NBA.
It lets them develop younger players usually.
Yeah, exactly. Without using, a roster spot. So, I think they move it because now it's 2. I think they're moving it to like 3. So,
okay, and it actually gives you cap space because it says the athlete's salary is dependent on the league in which they're assigned to play. So you could assign them on your team, assign them to the G League, and then they're not taken from your salary cap.
Okay, yep, okay. But also, too, I think that, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but also, too, like, to my point, is that for teams, for the veteran players, it helps them out because now a team doesn't have to battle with, do I keep him over the veteran, or do I keep the cheaper rookie player and say, I'll let him develop, when you can have both. And it gives a younger player more of an opportunity to find his niche and ultimately get into the NBA.
Mm-hmm. You can only do it with players that have fewer than 4 years of NBA experience too. And so they're typically considered the 16th and 17th man on a roster. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's why. But also too, like you gotta be able to. You have to use it for players who you think are actually gonna be players. Like when the Celtics had Taco Fall, nice little story, but it was just like, all right, y'all, what are we doing here? Like it was just like, I look at it now, like I want to say it was the 2019 season, and they like cut Strus. They had Strus there at training camp on a two-way contract. They cut Strus for Taco Fall. And it was just like, it seemed more like an ownership. Ownership wanted like fanfare. They thought Taco would create that. Well, it was just like, you could have created a sharpshooter off your bench that Strus is now. And that's how, I mean, they learn from their mistakes. That's how they have Sam Hauser now, because he was on a two-way contract last year. So, yeah, so.
And so, go ahead. I know we're reaching time a little bit here. I wanted to divvy it up between Hall of Fame, the latest Hall of Fame inductees versus State of the NBA. Y'all have a preference for either one?
I mean, Hall of Fame, there's an enshrinement today or something, right?
Yeah, Dirk, D. Wade, Tony Parker, Paul Gasol, Greg Popovich, and Becky Hammond.
That's a legendary cast right there. That's damn okay.
I mean,
wow.
That was
that's
like
a legendary class right there.
That was like 2006 to like 2013 finals, damn near every year. Like,
what was those names again? You said Dirk,
Nowitzki, D. Wade, Paul Gasol, who actually got his jersey retired this year by the Lakers.
Wow.
Tony Parker and Greg Popovich, and then Becky Hammond.
Tony Parker and Greg Popovich, yep.
Damn, so Greg Popovich is going to be a coach next year and a Hall of Famer. That's crazy.
Walking Hall of Famer, yeah, that's interesting. Can you still be active?
And they might get Wembanyama. I mean, he's active right now.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess you can still be active.
Yeah, Wembanyama, that's a whole new era under Greg Popovich, honestly.
That is.
Are they projected number one?
I mean, they would be in the lottery. Yeah, they're down there.
They suck. They suck.
They're down there.
They suck.
I think. Let me see where their seeding is. I think they're second to last in the West.
And I don't want to like jump off of parallels, but if you look at between them and the Patriots, it's like there's a generational player in the draft, and they say, you know what, we're gonna stop, we're gonna tank, we're gonna trade off our good part, whatever, and instead of being competitive, because I'm pretty sure Park can coach his ass off, and they can be a middling 25 to 30 win team, but he understands the state of the NBA.
You need superstars. You know what I mean? But like they're 19 and 58. They're one game or a half a game ahead of the Rockets, who are 19 and 59. But the Spurs have actually lost 6 in a row. So it looks like it looks like trying to go down there.
I mean, you need to, like, I don't mean the change away from the Hall of Fame, but I just feel though that like the pivot as far as he understands that like he's not, even if they get Wembanyama, he's not going to be coaching him. He's not going to coach him. He's in like in his 70s. He's not going to be coaching that much longer. But he's understanding the state of the NBA and is saying, if I want to leave the Spurs in good hands, you always want to go somewhere and say, I want to leave it better. I mean, I don't know how he can say I can leave it better than where, better when I found it.
But that's a pretty.
I mean, because with his dynasty he had, but the next coach would have something rather than you sitting there saying, here's a middling roster that you got to go through, nonsense. Because look at Steven Silas said that, like, he said he broke down because he felt he couldn't reach the team. When he signed up for the job, he had James Harden. He had other players, on the team. And now you get dealt this younger team, no kind of direction, and you're just losing every year. That takes a toll. Where like if the Spurs were to get a good player, and there's a good players in this draft, they're better for the next coach to take on.
That's facts. And so Wembanyama projected to be the biggest like draft pick since LeBron. So he's like literally the next generational.
I mean, he projects like a Tim Duncan, right? Like a big who can two-way,
I mean, have you seen his game?
Shoot it.
He's got like KD jumper, but more handle.
KD really though? KD jumper really though?
Yeah, like, bro. I watched
consistent three-pointer.
Like, bro, he's getting the ball in the post, spin around, fade away, cushion it, like right at the 3-point line. He's got a wet, quick jump. Like, it's a KD type jump shot on a 7-footer, but he's like 7'3".
4.
Right.
It's like, it's crazy. He's athletic. He's got defense. Like, his game is like, he's got a modern bigs game. Like, he's like a more developed Embiid coming in.
Bro, I would put him on like
polished.
I think that he would be a better, let's say, Porzingis.
Yeah, but yeah, this is against G League. Yeah, so we got to see him in the NBA against G League.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. But back to the class, and we're just like you're talking about champions on champions. Even when you look at Becky Hammond, she went to the Las Vegas Aces, and they won the championship, the WNBA last year.
Damn. So is she a coach though, or a player?
Coach.
Oh, okay. She coached under Popovich or no?
Yes. Oh, there was talks that maybe she was going to be the next coach.
Wow. So I feel like Pop was like, if I'm getting in, Becky's got to get in too.
I mean, she still had a career as far as in playing and stuff, but I just think that like her winning the last year in the WNBA kind of put a stamp on it. But you're looking at like Wade. You can arguably say he's like a top 5 shooting guard to play the game.
Right, Tony Parker.
What would he rate?
Yeah.
Tony Parker.
What is it? 5 rings?
Well, he's probably a top 10 point guard all time. Yeah, 5 rings with Timmy D.
Crazy.
Or he might have 4, but
maybe it's 4.
Because I don't think he got that first when it was
4. Yeah. Nah, it's 4.
Damn.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah.
He was nasty. I mean, Dirk, he got 1 ring, but it was like against LeBron and the Heatles. So it's like,
went to the finals.
And also ran through the Lakers.
Yeah.
At their height. Yep. Ran through the Lakers at their height. So I just look. Dirk was. I mean, you're talking about arguably one of the best power forward in his generation. Like he, as far as like shooting bigs, like that's where like it went from like Larry Bird to like Dirk, just like forced it, and the emphasis on 3-point shots wasn't even that great as it was now.
Right. He was still shooting like crazy.
And yeah, exactly.
And then Paul Gasol, he won those 2 rings with Kobe. He was nasty. He was even a great international player too with Spain.
Yeah, Powell honestly on the low, like, because Powell has 5, right? I think he got them 5 with Kobe.
No,
nah, 2. Nah, because Shaq was there for 3.
2. He has 2.
Facts, no.
Yeah, he got 2. He got the 2 with Kobe.
Two.
Yeah. That would
Completely disregarded Shaquille O'Neal's freaking three-peat. Right?
Yo, I mean, with Powell,
But
Powell was
even
a
them
definite.
too.
He changed the direct trajectory of the Lakers.
yeah.
I mean, Memphis, they don't make that trade as far as in with Memphis.
Traded brother for brother, right?
Yeah, but Marcus Saul wasn't Marcus Saul. I think it's crazy because I don't even think Marcus Saul was like a headline in that deal. I think he was kind of like a throw-in.
He developed a lot.
Exactly. So, I mean, I would look at that. I mean, I would look at them and I would say, like, he changed. I mean, I feel that this is around the time that Kobe kind of wanted out. And Paul Gasol kind of like, I think that a lot of people
in that
like,
championship, man. That finals,
I mean,
bro. He balled against KG.
Bro, he saved them. Bro, he saved because what happened was that first year in 2008, he got punked. KG and punked him.
Yep.
And he came back, they beat Dwight Howard, but he came back on a vengeance. He was like, nah, y'all not about to call me soft. I'm not about, you're not about to call me soft. And
he
came back and for sure. But I mean, you just look at it. It's just like it's a legendary class. I mean, I don't think that there's going to be a question about how
that's the word for that class. Legendary, like.
Bro, they combined for 95,092 points, 39 All-Star appearances, and 10 NBA championships.
Wow.
Yeah. See. Yeah. So they're not. You're not going to question. You're not going to question. Like, this is not going to be a question as far as in like, oh, should this player make it, or how did he make it over other players?
These are all first ballots. Like, yep.
Stamps.
Surefire.
Yeah, like as soon as he get in, he's going in. Like as soon as he's up for, he's going in. Like these players been stamped, and it was just like, and it kind of like, I want to say, was that last year? Or was that the year before when I think Kobe, Duncan, and Garnett all went in.
Oh wow! Like, what a class!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
What about the current state of the NBA? How are y'all feeling about the Celtics? Give me updates. It looks like can y'all just tell me what happened in that game where they smacked the Bucks by 41?
It was a statement, bro. It was a statement win.
What was that?
Yeah.
It was a statement win, man. From the jump. Like, and I heard some stats apparently. So I think we played the Bucks 3 times this season. We beat them twice, and the one time we lost was at their place in overtime. You know what I'm saying?
And
I think they said Tatum is averaging like 40.
He dropped 40 that last game.
Jaylen Brown is averaging 29. Like we're not scared of the Bucks. Like we're just not. It's just not a good matchup for them. Like it's just not a good matchup.
I'll add more context to TG. The game that we lost in overtime was the Celtics weren't playing 4 of their 5 starters. So you're talking about Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Jason Tatum.
Wow.
I think Robert Williams.
That's crazy.
I want to say Smart. Was out too.
I mean, that's all.
That's all the starters. Shit.
Yeah. I mean, because Robert Williams was in it. He's been out of the season. I think he's been out of the line. No, Robert Williams did play. He came off the bench. He played 11 minutes during that game. So Robert Williams did play. But so you're talking about like their top players are not playing, and they were up double digits in that game. That was a game that they should have won. And they lost. And then the games that they do play in the season, they blew them out. And they have no one to stop Jason Tatum.
I mean, Brown went for 30. It's just like
they have no wing defenders. You have if you want to play against the Celtics and you think you have a chance, I think Dell sent me a video where Gilbert Arenas was touting about how You know, the Celtics don't have no one to stop Giannis, and it's like they have to play the Celtics too. It's not Giannis just plays on offense, and then that's just how it works. It's like the Celtics have 2 all NBA players at the wing spot, and it's like, who do you have that can cause havoc? And you know, Joe Ingles.
He got 0, 0, and 2.
Joe Ingles, Jay Crowder.
Was it a first half blowout though? Because all the starters played like 20 minutes. Giannis played 25.
It was a blowout from like the jump. Like it was just,
bro. The second quarter,
it was domination, man.
Bro,
like it was. I think at halftime, I think halftime was like 75-47 or some shit, something. Like
that.
Like it was. It was ugly, bro.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised tuning into that game.
And at the end of the day, I look at it like some people. I think Drew Holiday gave a comment, said, you know, they're not worried. You know, they beat the Nets. The Nets blew them out in the playoffs, and they end up winning the series. And it's like, let's kind of leave the fact that James Harden and Kyrie Irving got hurt in that series. I think that's kind of convenient for you to leave that out. Where if you was a KD, that's a size shoe smaller from being sent home by himself, let alone if he had, you know, Kyrie and James Harden. So I think that like that kind of like I get the optimism, but like let's kind of like we left that out. So I mean, like TG said, I don't think that the Celtics are a good matchup for them because of what the Celtics can do, and especially on the offensive end and what they have as far as they have no one that can stop. They have no one that can stop, you know, Tatum.
Tatum was 8 of 10.
Tatum or Brown.
Bro, listen, honestly, I know we list them on the
end. Get right game for Tatum, y'all.
Like, bro, the Celtics were 22 of 43. They shot 51% from 3. Just listen to the 3-point numbers for the starters. I'm gonna start with the worst, which was Marcus Smart, 2 for 6. D White, 2 for 4. He's 50%. Al Horford, 4 for 6. Jaylen Brown, 3 for 5. Jason Tatum, 8 for 10. They shot them out the gym. Like, this is 30 minutes of play. Some people only play 20 minutes, 22, 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Al Horford, it continues to mystify me that people continually routinely leave him open as if he's not a knockdown 3-point shooter.
Who, Al Horford?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
throw up something off the glass sometimes. That's very.
But
it's hard. It's hard to guard bigs at the 3-point line because like they're being guarded by another big. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So
and it opens, and that's how it opens up. You know, the paint for Tatum and Brown. But there was one thing that shocked me. Al hit a 30-footer, and I was just like, wait a minute.
In that game?
Like, yeah.
Damn.
I'm like, wait, he hit a 30-footer. I'm like, wait, Al. Like, I'm like, damn, Al, you know the logo. Yeah. It was a splash. It was splash. And I'm like, oh, okay, Al, that's how we're feeling today. Yeah.
Right.
So Al, I don't know. I just look at it like, they had a stretch, good teams will figure it out. They figured it out. And just more so, I think it's more so of playing the bad teams. You got to understand, they're coming out to compete. Them guys want contracts. They're playing for playing time. They that's why I said, that's what I'm saying. Like, you look at the Celtics when they didn't have their players, and they played against the Bucks and they gave them a run for their money. Sometimes some teams can, they get, maybe we can relax. And it's like, these other guys are NBA players too. And they're trying to get something on the tape, whether it's a new contract with their team or they audition for the other 29 teams. And then also, they want to look at their team and say, yo, I deserve more playing time. Look what I can do for you. And it's funny because Porzingis had a good game that game. And now the next day, the Wizards are talking about giving him a contract extension. And I would like to, this is why I want to, I know we got pressed over time, but speaking of Porzingis, the Mavericks, it begs a question as far as in, let's say, with Luka. Why didn't it work out with? Okay, Porzingis was hurt a lot, but that was supposed to be kind of a dynamic duo that with him and Luka.
International.
And then
they
the whole thing now we're looking
go for free,
and then you got Kyrie.
That was
now you look
dumb.
now you look at with Kyrie, and I understand I think D said we shouldn't look at this season, or I didn't want to say I'm not judging them off of this season, but I looked at it. I didn't think that they were going to fall out of the playoff, let alone the play-in.
Yeah, they completely tanked.
They were, I think they were 4th seed when he got there, and then they dropped all the way down to 11. So they just plummeted.
Yeah.
Defense, team chemistry. Kyrie's ill. He can score, but he don't play D.
Is he that ill?
Luka don't play D.
And we need to start looking at Kyrie differently.
What is he?
I think he's a third.
LeBron?
I think he's a third. But he wants to be trapped in this I'm an alpha type of. I think he's a third.
On a championship team, third option.
You don't think he's a 2?
No.
It depends on. I mean, maybe he's only a 2 if you have LeBron, but maybe you're probably right.
Yeah, that's it.
You're probably right.
That's how he's trying. And now I don't even think we need him in Lakerland and La La Land. Honestly, the way D'Lo and the squad is playing.
I mean, as much as y'all were clamoring for Kyrie, I mean, I think that y'all were better off with the move that y'all made opposed to the, let's say, picks with Russell Westbrook for Kyrie.
I just
made a better team move.
Right. Just because we talked about the recent Lakers Celtics, and I just got to talk about the Lakers recently. The whole Pat Bev saying you're too little to LeBron in his first game back. I'm glad it was Austin Reeves that stepped up, cooked on Pat Bev and hit him with the too little back. So just great to see our team have each other's back. AD's been dominating at 38 and 17 against Minnesota. We're on a roll, and it doesn't look like that roll's stopping unless we get hurt. And AD was hobbled this last game, but I feel like the Celtics and Lakers are the two teams we follow the most are just meteoric rise. But yeah, the Mavs, I mean, they're going down as fast as our teams are going up.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's what I'm saying. The Lakers, like he said, they made a great team move. They looked at their team and they said, yeah, player for we can get this player, but guess what? We can add players and defense. And you saw what the Mavericks gave up. They gave up defense for, essentially just one guy. And that's how, and also it's hard for you to make those kind of moves mid-season, especially when you're really shaking up your team, and especially when you're counting on that guy to be one of your main guys, like the Lakers. Those other guys are role players. They already have their pecking order. They have their hierarchy. Where the Mavs are okay, we got Luka and Kyrie's right under. It's now the other guys have to adjust to him rather than guys coming in saying yo, you're just playing a role. And that's kind of a different ball game.
I mean, it's been poor management though. We touched on it, but how do you let Jalen Brunson walk for nothing?
Yeah,
and that doesn't seem like a Mark Cuban. That's that's crazy. Because how do you have a talent like that? I think the other night when Tatum had that big game, I think Tatum had 39, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brunson, I saw he was a scoring leader for the night.
Yeah, outdueled Donovan Mitchell.
I think he scored 48.
Yeah, he outdueled Donovan Mitchell.
And I think
Yeah,
Donovan
so
Mitchell scored 42. But like, dude, like if you have a talent, he looks like a like
Yeah,
multiple year all-star type of talent.
48. He
mhm.
had 48,
It's
4 and
crazy.
9 against. Yeah, Mitchell had
What was
42.
it?
He had 48, 4 and 9. He was
48 for
18 to
Yeah,
32 from the field, 7 to 12 from three.
seven
Actually missed.
threes.
He should have had 50. He actually missed 3 free throws.
That's
yes,
crazy.
they messed up.
How do you
They
have a
messed up.
talent like that? And like they're the ones that drafted him, right? The
Yeah, he
Dallas
Yes.
or
was
whatever.
homegrown. He was homegrown.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's 6'2". He looks like he's really 5'11", 6 feet. But
Yeah.
what they were saying is like Mark Cuban misjudged him and thought like, oh, he's just balling this year because he's in a contract year. But you saw him progress each year. Like,
That's crazy. Like
oh,
he looks like a legitimate, like, multiple year, like all-star
I mean,
guard.
he's 26.
That's crazy.
He's literally 26 years old.
Wow, and he's and he's young too.
4 years in
No,
the league.
the problem is that now when you have a guy like Luka, you're not going to be bad enough to get into the lottery, the top half of the lottery. So you have to make moves like this, and they were desperate. That Kyrie move is a desperation move, and it came back to all the worst scenarios are happening now because he could potentially. I think it's funny because I don't know if he was talking about the boos he's getting from the Maverick fans or something like that. But it's funny because the first game that they played, he's walking amongst the fans, and it's just like it's quickly how that honeymoon can get over real quick.
Wait, who was saying that? Oh, Kyrie?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
He deserves it. Like, you don't,
yeah.
but this is all like he wouldn't be in this position if he just did the Brooklyn Nets right. They wouldn't have just shipped him off. Like, they probably shipped him off knowing, like, yo, their analytics team probably knew they were fucking them over, honestly. Like,
No, but it wasn't even just messing them over. But like it's saying messing them over because look what they got for both of him. Like they're a team full of, let's say, role players, but you have ascendant talent because now look at Mikal Bridges.
That's a
Is
good point.
he is a player who maybe he had to play a certain role with
Bro,
the
Brooklyn
Suns.
won in that deal. Brooklyn won in that
Yeah.
deal, bro. Mikal, like, what am I saying? Yeah, right? Is that how did that deal go down?
Was it a three-way trade?
So
Yeah,
no,
so I'm like,
no, it was two separate trades. Phoenix traded Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges
that's how we got that.
for KD, four draft picks.
Right.
But what was the Dallas one? Like
It was
Dorian Finney-Smith or something.
and Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
And I think they either 1 or 2 first-round picks for Kyrie.
So they went for the max that they could get. Okay.
Damn, they traded, dude. Yo, Brooklyn, dude, they did masterfully. Like, they traded 2 superstars, got the perfect collection of talent with first-round picks. I think they're 4th or whatever in the East right now. Or some
6th.
Nah, they dropped to 6th, but still
6th or whatever, right? Like, but they gonna make the playoffs.
I mean,
like,
they've dug themselves enough holes to get superstars. Like, they screwed themselves getting KG and Paul Pierce, but like, kudos to them for now being on the other end of those trades.
Whoever
they look like
down there is, making his money now.
They look like the Brooklyn team the year before KD and Kyrie decided to sign. It's a hard nose. You're gonna come. We're going to play full 48 minutes. This is the team. This is what we're gonna be, and it's gonna be a team that like fans, a casual fan can root for because you're gonna watch quality NBA basketball. Where like you don't have like the drama that they had when they had Kyrie. And KD.
They still got some drama with a guy we haven't mentioned who doesn't play anymore.
Oh.
Ben Simmons. It's crazy that they're this ill and they got Ben Simmons and they literally shut him down for the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gonna make $38 million next year, then $40 million a
year.
year.
Home with pay. Give me a break.
What?
Make that dude earn his money, man. Like, yo, like, it's the thing that I don't want to be insensitive to like I don't know if it's truly physical. I heard he has like a back something going on with his back. Or if it's mental, like we can't just be like, yo, I'm going home due to mental health. I think Andre Drummond is doing the same thing. There's more players are coming out talking about, yo, I gotta go home because of mental health. Who in the real world can just tell their boss,
Andre
I
Wiggins
can't come into work tomorrow because of mental health? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I
Let
just don't know
alone
how
making
I feel
40
about
mil a
it.
year. I mean, that's bull. That's BS. Like,
That's what I want to say, but I want to be respectful
you
to
came back
people.
to play. You came back to play after the mental health after the whole situation, and now like you still ain't shooting jumpers, you still ain't working on your game, you're still going back and forth with your coach with like ownership. Go ahead, Ray.
So here's my thing with Ben Simmons is John Vaughn came out and said he can't play him. His coach legit came out and said, I can't play this guy. He said he put out and said, yo, I have this line. I put out this. I can't play him with this kind of lineup.
Because there's no shooting. If I put him in another lineup, there's no defense. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
No defense. If I just put him in this lineup, no rebounding. I was like, damn.
Yeah, so essentially they're kind of pigeonholed when they that's what he just basically looked at. And so now when you look at the bigger picture, that's why they're like, yo, let's try to find him, a new home or whatever. Oh, and two, I just looked up a stat. Like I probably looked at it probably like 15 minutes ago. KD played like 43 games this season. So there's
Anthony Davis.
KD.
Oh, Kevin Durant, right? KD.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So there's no way that KD should be on. He shouldn't be in consideration for any awards. Like, nah.
Steph Curry will though.
Get that finals MVP. Watch out. Yes.
I mean, other than that, but like I mean, like I said, I look at it like because we're looking at because you're looking at Steph Curry and Steph Curry played in.
I'll admit Booker is looking like the alpha dog on that team though.
52. Steph Curry played in 52 games. Steph Curry played in 52 games.
Probably hit the 58.
He'll probably get in, man. He'll probably get in like.
Well, how many games left? Because they played a little more games. I think they're 41 and 37. So they got 6 games left. He's got to play all the games.
So, but here's my thing though: is that like, should we shun out a Jalen Brunson? Like, should this?
That's what I was saying. Like, I was saying,
he could be Dirk. Yeah, that's.
He sounds like an all NBA team player. Like
he looks like it. Dude, he looks like it, yo.
I mean, you're outdoing a top guard in the West who's proven in the playoffs, or in the East, I should say.
Because, like, obviously, some people are going to reward. They're going to give SGA. You're going to have, Mitchell. Like it's like tough to name like these guards up. Like obviously, I think Luka's probably going to take one of the other guard spots.
Yeah.
So it just like when you start to like it start to like kind of die down. You look at it and say like, why are we going to award a guy who's like hurt a lot to a guy who's a ascending player? And I think that so I think that's where I have my gripe when you have these guys who are hurt, they didn't play a lot. It's versus like the younger player who's played a lot more, who's put his team in a better position. Like, you could argue whether it's Brunson or Randall, who's really like the catalyst for the Knicks to be in a position that they are in now.
To throw in a quick nugget, Randall didn't play that game when Brunson dropped 48. They were actually without him. So
he's a beast, man.
But yeah, I know we went over a little. Any other topics y'all care to dive into?
No, I think we had a good show today.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. All right, that's episode 10 in the books. We can't wait till the playoffs start, so we could get spicy and LeBron get that 5th ring. So he's gonna Lakers Celtics is looking more and more real. I will say that. That's looking
Can't wait
like
for the playoffs,
more
man.
and more of a
Honestly.
possibility. Like I want to see LeBron go Dark Vader playoff mode again, dog. Like, I can't
Hey,
wait.
real quick, who's NCAA? What's the Final Four like?
I know Miami's in it, first time in school history.
Is Miami, UConn, Florida Atlantic, and San Diego State.
UConn? That's what it was.
Oh yeah,
I knew there was a team around here.
Yeah, those
So UConn.
Yeah, UConn.
Wait, sorry. Say that again, Rick. You said UConn, Miami. Who else?
San Diego State and Florida Atlantic.
Florida
Atlantic. Could it be a San Diego State Florida Atlantic final?
What seeds are they?
No,
like is that like
no, I think
like a 7? Like
yeah. Florida Atlantic, and San Diego State play today.
Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah, you didn't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, like, who was playing in this? But damn, UConn and Miami, one of them was gonna knock each other out. Damn.
Yeah. No, but but this would be the UConn notch on there, like as far as in their legacy, as far as in them getting another ship. Like you look at it, like they're the only like true, like when you look at powerhouse college basketball, UConn's the only one that's up there. All the other teams are like mid-major, and besides, Miami, but Miami's not. They're not known
or a school.
Yeah. I mean, they're really not even a football school, but anymore.
I mean, they used to be the U. But, you're right, they fell off.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely. Wait. So hold on. So we can. I think that we can. Before we go, we can give our picks for, let's say, the Final Four.
Okay.
UConn, man.
Right. It sounds so San Diego and Florida Atlantic. I'm gonna just go out and throw out a curveball and say Florida Atlantic takes it all. Or matter of fact, my fault. Let me stick with a Cali team. Let me go San Diego. San Diego. Sure.
Okay. I damn, I was thinking about it. Yeah. I'm agree with TG and say UConn.
UConn's winning it all, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear Molly Karam and freaking
right.
Orlowski be gassed. Like
yeah.
But they're feeling good. I feel like she's been calling out of work to attend these games too. I'm like, where's Molly at?
But yeah, You know what? I'm gonna just go against y'all. I'm gonna just say I'm gonna say Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic? Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Oh damn, it's 2 Florida teams when you think about it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They hooping down in Florida then. Okay.
Let's see. So then next week, honestly, in another week or two, the NBA playoffs start. So we're gonna start tracking our predictions again and see who's most accurate in those picks. So right now, you got our picks locked in. I got San Diego. TG got UConn. Rick got Florida Atlantic. So let's see how that works out.
Hey.
All right, man.
Gentlemen, that's
enjoy South Africa, bro.
From Cape Town.
All right,
We'll catch you next week.
Peace out, y'all.